Thank you for listening to the Field Report for October 18th, 2018. Earlier today, I wanted to post these updates because I know some people are going to have some questions, so I want to make sure clarification. This is our dial-in number for those who will be hosting this on whenever there's an emergency. This host number or number like that will be posted. We live here in Pennsylvania. We've talked to our representative when it comes to gun issues, safety issues. And I need to share what the Lord revealed to me. And over time, what most people probably haven't already heard about and know about, and probably just working knowledge, what you need to do to prepare for weather, storm, and conditions that probably be a lot more colder in this area than typical. And why I know that is if you can look at some of the other posts and information. Earlier today, I had a revelation, and I know I have to share this. When it comes to the Catholic sex abuse case and some other issues in the marriage and the church, you can none other than this is what when I say individual rights, that there are people fighting back when it comes to Defensive Marriage Act. And then, of course, we told you guys, and many of you who listened to our post a couple years ago, not too many people came out for the Defensive Marriage Act. They're going to push pedophilia. So that's that slippery slope a lot of us are upset about right now. Because we knew that pedophilia is dangerous and downright wrong. They're going to still push this agenda. So you just got to know what's going on there. So this is just recent here in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. This was what's been reported, and we know, because the facts are that there are children with child sexual abuse trauma, blackouts, injuries. And later in this post, we're going to discuss more on healthy human sexuality between a man and woman, because that needs to be drawn into clarity. If you haven't seen anything, a lot of people have mentioned things about porn. I'm not talking about porn. We're not talking about dirty, ugly, rude, crude behavior either. We're talking about the psychology behind human sexuality, why healthy marriages exist and last. You look at your newspaper and see what keeps a couple together for 60 years. So let's talk about appropriate relationships. Let's address some of the interactions, because by today's standards and what's going on now, and what we need to know about healthy relationships, because that's really the issue. Because there are issues in marriages about trust, about adultery. When you're in a marriage, yeah. Because really, I think growing up, a lot of kids goof around, and obviously they don't realize unless they have parents to correct them and say, hey, this is not behavior I want you to get used to, if that's the kind of behavior. In the Bible, it says you are the children of light and children of the day. We do not belong to the night or to darkness, 1 Thessalonians 5:5. Meaning, you're not going to live your lives in a dark place. Or if you have been, you can come out of that dark place, because the Lord lights the way in the path is to righteousness, because most people want to live honorable, righteous lives. And looking at some of your examples, look at some of the people around you that have strong marriages. A lot of us who have concerns at home, look around you, pay attention to the people around you who are trying to work out their marriage issues, or maybe they're going to pastoral counseling, maybe they're looking to seek, I think that the problem in the marriage is that when people go down this slippery slope, especially when it comes to the Defensive Marriage Act, then you have, look what's going on out there. You have to have husband and wife sit down and respectfully discuss this topic and more. Silence is consent. Okay, on the Second Amendment right issue. Okay, well, I could just share with you an article. In fact, August 24th, 2018, artist gives voice to abused women. And that's exactly what some of the artwork that we do. Yes, and there's other things that we're talking about when it comes to food, when it comes to time with family, sitting down with your kids, sitting down with a brother or sister about something, even if it's just cooking food. Even if it is just having coffee. It doesn't have to always be about the tough topics. We know we have ID. We have to have our ID, mail call, deliveries, and then they get off work, thank God. Because all of us have been working overtime schedule, and we don't get paid overtime. And another issue that needs to be addressed with the Obama administration is they started cutting overtime. things that were not typical. It was unusual what we went through with the Obama administration. I mean, they were cutting into things that normally we never had problems with. When we talk about overtime, we're talking about cash for clunkers and things that were just not normal. It's not normal to have that much government in your life. And then think about all the overly regulated gasoline, the gas tax here in Pennsylvania from the sex abuse case in State College. Yeah, we want not only good leadership, we want decent leadership in Washington and in Pennsylvania. And we know it's a major big time election. Pennsylvania being a swing state, I think it's not just what rides on Pennsylvania. It's other states. It's Ohio. It's Florida. It's the sexual abuse of children. It's the pedophilia. It's the rape. It's the whole issue about child abuse in itself that's problematic for a mom. If you haven't heard, some of the women have actually lost children over the stress and undue distress. There are distress calls every day regarding children and families that are in crisis because of sexual abuse. Now, they might not come out and say it, and it might be underreported in the media, or maybe not even reported at all. But most families who go home at night, they want a calm, normal home, and that's not what it's been like for some of us. It has been nothing but a nightmare for some of us. It is like trauma, sexual abuse, bad relationship. And it is Domestic Violence Month. So I think it's appropriate to discuss all issues when it comes to abuse. First of all, going into somebody's room and doing the nasty, and other girls and other women doing the nasty at the hotel, unless they're in a relationship or dating, or we have a better idea, dropping your daughter off at a hotel and doing the nasty, that's not the kind of relationship an older women need to have with the younger girls. What women need to do is start getting to the table and address their own personal issues in their home instead of putting it on other women. There are other women out there that don't do that to other women. They don't go in there and start, jumping on some girl's bed and start doing the nasty. There are girls that do nasty things to other girls, and that is the issue. When you're at home, most of the girls don't want to go home to abuse. They don't want to go home to fighting. They don't want to go home to listen to women abusing other women. So one of the things is that paying attention to the things that are going on with the little girls and the women in your home. That's primarily an issue. Thank you, Officer Ripple, because we're going to let Officer Ripple take care of it. She's gonna address the girls on these issues. This is what was going on. And other women would not listen to the other girls. So we let the female officers handle it. Yeah. Because they wouldn't have listened to us to begin with. That's the truth. That is the truth. There are young women that have issues with other women. They can anonymously discuss it with an officer. If they have problems, they cannot be thrown these accusations out here and then putting other women in undue distress. And if they do, they're only causing problems for themselves, okay? So, working out, fitness, eating right. Something really as basic as the menu that we selected. You're going to want to have a stock up. You're going to want to have ice cream. You're going to want to have things around the house that can soften food. Sorbet. Some of us have dental issues. Some of us are abused a while. So I don't particularly respect what we went through. I don't particularly like what we went through at all. That's why we need a timeout. No, I don't have. I'm not that difficult. And believe me, if there are restrictions, it's because restrictions need to be put on someone. Well, they're always pointing it at the same people. That's the problem. That's been the problem since we came back to Pennsylvania. That's why I did not want to come back to Pennsylvania, because I know how they always come down on me and my family. In fact, since we were abused when we were little kids, we haven't had very much help from the state of Pennsylvania, but some crime assistance. We've gotten attitude, and we've gotten problems, and we're the victims of the child sexual abuse, by the way.
was making for the trades on the outside, and the downhill run to Papaete. Off the wind on this heading line, the Marquesas. You got 80 feet of a water line, nicely making way. In a noisy bar in Avalon, I tried to call you, but on a midnight watch I realized why twice you ran away. Think about how many times I had fallen. Spirits are using me, Lord, your voice is calling. What heaven brought you and me cannot be forgotten. I have been around the world, looking for that woman girl. No, she knows love can endure, and you know it will. When you see the Southern Cross for the first time, you understand now why you came this way. 'Cause the truth you might be running from is so small, but it's as big as the promise of a coming day. So I'm sailing for tomorrow, my dreams are dying, and my love is an anchor tied to you, tied with a silver chain. I have my ship, and all her flags are a-flying. She is all that I have left, and music is her name. Think about how many times I have fallen. Spirits are using me, Lord, your voice is calling. What heaven brought you and me cannot be forgotten. Around the world, I have been around the world, looking for that woman girl. Love can endure, and you know it will, and you know it will. So we cheated and we lied and we tested, and we never failed to fail. It was the easiest thing to do. You will survive being bested. Somebody fine will come along, make me forget about loving you. In the Southern Cross,
So how about this for irony? The very man that would use a gun is the very man that raped me, and then they turn around and try to take my gun rights away. Let me tell you about men who are called controlled opposition. They hire people on Craigslist. They hire crisis actors. Okay, so know this much, kids. You kids cannot be bullshitted that long. When they talk about brown shirts and they talk about this stuff, there are hordes of people that are willing to assault law enforcement, and law enforcement's all they're doing. And believe me, there will be people arrested. This is not just coming from me. This is coming from Mark's prophecy, Mark Taylor's prophecy. It's going to get to the point they're going to try to use everything they can to take guns away. Look what happened in Australia. Look what happened in Brexit. Right after the people in Britain started coming out against the things that were going on in Britain, they started to try to silence Brexit. Brexit was the best thing that happened to some of the people on our friends on the other side of the pond. By the way, in the United States, it would be no different. That was what I believe, because of Brexit, is the reason that President Trump was voted in, because they saw what was going on with Islam. And Islam is recruiting people at churches and sanctuaries all throughout Pittsburgh. And they'll rent out your sanctuaries. And they'll try to tell you that wearing a hijab is a fashion statement. It is not. Wearing a hijab is not a fashion statement. Not looking at the silence and abuse of women on domestic violence as well. Follow the Yazidi post. Ladies, if you haven't served your country, if you don't know anything about world news, go ahead and look up the Yazidis, how they're defending. Really, Yazidi women are winning. They'll see their 72 virgins. Oh, with the help of Yazidi women and women like us. Thank you. There's much more coming up next at the Phil Report. Yeah, much more. Thank you for listening to the Phil Report. The Phil Report is a part of the Amateur Radio Network. Family Talk Radio! Stay tuned for some comic relief after this. And anybody who's gotten a chance to get down the Funny Bone or any of the other comic stand places, let me know, because there's a lot we would like to do. We've been working on our comic stand-up, and there's a lot that we'll catch up with you guys really soon. Up next, the Moonlight Lounge. Much more. Oh my God. You're listening to We Are Family Therapy Radio. We can discuss topics here online. More after this.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand
And that's
by
what
me.
most of us have been through, is trouble, problems that are hard to solve, and without your friends and without support, really, I don't know how we could get through it. So more after this. Stay tuned for more at We Are Family Therapy Radio.
I don't like you, but I love you. Seems that I'm always thinking of you.
here for more. You're going to want to hear the next broadcast. And it's just a lot more. So we're wrapping it up this weekend. And we are going to go to the
Everyone's watching to see what you do. Everyone's looking at you. Oh, everyone's wondering, will you come out tonight? Everyone's trying to get it right, get it right. Everybody's working for the weekend. Everybody wants a new romance. Everybody's going off the deep end. Everybody needs a second chance. Oh, you want a piece of my heart? You better start from the start. You wanna be in the show? Come on, baby, let's go. Everyone's looking to see if it was you. Everyone wants you to come through. Everyone's hoping it'll all work out. Everyone's waiting, they're holding out. Everybody's working for the weekend. Everybody wants a new romance. Hey, yeah. Everybody's going off the deep end. Everybody needs a second chance. Oh, you want a piece of my heart? You better start from the start. You wanna be in the show? Come on, baby, let's go. You want a piece of my heart? You better start from the start. You wanna be in the show? Come on, baby, let's go. You want a piece of my heart? You better start from the start. You wanna be in the show? Come on, baby, let's go.
You got that? Right. More after this at the Film Report.